I count up so much money lately. I count up so much that they hate me. Yeah, I make niggas mad cause they ain't me. Yeah, I been in my bag going crazy. I count up so much money lately. I count up so much that they hate me. Yeah, I make niggas mad cause they ain't me. Yeah, I been in my bag going crazy. Bitch, I'm not.
First off, fuck your bitch in the clique you claim. West side when we ride, come equipped with game. You claim to be a player, but I fucked your wife. We bust on bad boys, niggas fuck for life. Plus, Puffy tryna see me weak, hearts I rip. Biggie Smalls and Junior Mafia some more. I think a little higher. I think a little higher.
So we got back on another video. It's your boy PJ021. And I just want to say, if you're happy inside, then my 10 minutes to bring you joy. And this is basically like a continuation of part 2 of the last reaction I just did. All right, so this is like that was part 1, and this part 2. Alright, so first things first, you already know what I'm about to do. Go on the search engine, search the website teespring.com/PJDigitalNoDadsGang, and once it loads, you're gonna click on the PJ Gang store name, and then it's gonna refresh, and then you can click on any item that you want. And then once you click your size and your color, you're gonna add to the cart, and then you're gonna click on this little shopping bag, and then you're gonna check out. That's all you gotta do in simple instructions. Alright, it's that simple. Alright, so you won't have like no more concerns, and like I gave you all the solutions to fix your problems. So let me see. Okay, so this is part 2. It was hard for me to find part 2 because like all her parts, because like, you know that she did this on TikTok, and all her parts and whatnot. It just took a lot to find part 2. So I think I found part 2. So let's watch it. All right.
So part 1 of after birth. So now y'all, again, remember I told y'all I brought my baby home and all. And his family wanted to see her. So me, you know, again, like I told y'all, I would never stop my daughter and her people from seeing each other. So of course I told my mom it's okay. I don't feel no way if they come see her. So now,
right, because you're gonna see her like at some moment, like
his cousins and his mom and his daddy come, and his mama just doing the most and examining my baby. So I'm looking at her and looking at my mom, and I'm thinking to myself like, okay, what is she doing? Like she was holding my child as if the child wasn't a child. Like she was just like giving my baby the side eye and all.
She was looking for some traits, like she was looking at if it had like the same nose, same eyes, same eyelashes, same like color skin than the nigga. So like she was just trying to make sure like that nigga's kiss.
So then she was like, oh well, we need to talk to you about something. And my mother's like, okay, what do we need to talk about? So she was like, well, my son had pulled me to the side and told me a few things, and I just want to run it by you real quick. Part 2. Whoop, there it is. Part 2. So now this heifer goes and tell my mom, well, I had a talk with my son, and he don't think the baby his. I don't think it's his either. And my mother's like, what are you talking about? How can you come up with this conclusion? Tell me why. Well, he told me some things happened over the summer and he just don't think that that's his baby. My mother's like,
So you think that she was like with other niggas? Like that's
elaborate on what you're talking about. She was like, well, we not gonna go into details, but he did let me know that he only was sexually active with your daughter one time. My mother was like, and you really believe that? And she was like, well, I trust my son and I know that he wouldn't lie to me. And if he said he was only having sex with her one time, then we need to do a DNA test. So now they're requesting the DNA test. Part 3. That's what I'm saying. So now her and my mama get to arguing. And 12 or 9, ain't nobody gonna disrespect my mama, whether me and my mama talk or not. Ain't nobody gonna disrespect her. So I jump in the argument. And I'm like, what do you mean he told you we only have sex one time? Your son took my virginity. So she get to saying, that's not what he said, and we need a DNA test, and until the DNA test is proven, basically, they're not going to do nothing for the child. So now here I am, pissed, because him and his family's there. He's not saying nothing at all. And I'm just standing here like, you really about to sit around here and let your mama say all this and you're really lying to her? So now me and him get to arguing. So now that me and him get to arguing, he's like, oh, you know, it was only one time. You need to tell the truth because I'm in big trouble because of this. As if I forced you to have sex with me, sir. Part 4. So now I'm like, you know we had sex. We had sex numerous times. Why are you lying to your mom? So now at this point, he's just denying everything. So, of course, I'm pissed. I tell my mom they need to go. They can't be. I don't want them around my baby. But again, y'all, I keep telling y'all I'm not the type to keep my child from her peoples. So now a few days go by, and his mother calls my mom and wanted to apologize. Which, it was all BS, but she wanted to apologize. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, she apologized. I'll let my baby go over there. So now I wanted to go swimming with my friends in the neighborhood. And I didn't have nobody to watch my baby because my mom was at work and my aunt, she wasn't about to watch my baby at that moment. So now the mom was like, well, I'll watch my baby, my grandbaby. I'll go ahead and watch her. So out of the blue, I'm like, why she want to watch my baby? But then again, that's her granddaughter. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I bring my baby to her house. Okay, y'all, I got 5. So of course I dropped my baby off and I walked up the road, which where the pool was. And a few hours go by and I want to go home. So I go get my baby. And when I pick up my baby, she's acting like everything's normal. Like, oh my goodness, she did so good. This, that, and the third. So in my head, I'm asking like, why the hell she telling me my baby did good as if she's a toddler, she gonna make mess? I ain't asked you that. So I went home and I told my mom, because my mom didn't even know that I dropped my baby off down to their house. So now my mother's home and she was like, where you coming from? And I was like, oh, I was at my friend's house and I dropped, my baby off to her people's house. And I was at the pool. And my mother was like, why you didn't call me to let me know that you was dropping her off over there? And I was like, well, Mom, that's her people's too. And I needed somebody to watch her while I went to go to the pool. My mom was like, they ain't got no damn sense. And they better not have done nothing to my grandbaby. Not putting 2 and 2 together, I'm like, okay, what is she talking about? Okay, y'all, about to post part 6.
all right. Then hold up. This is.
I'm sensing I'll need tax guidance for my new.
Yo, I don't know. Yo, they should have made this like all organized because it's not organized.
So now I'm letting my baby go over there regularly so that way she can spend time with her dad and his people. And it's still not sitting well with my mama that I'm letting her go over there. So now we go by a few weeks and I decide that one day I'm not going to let my baby stay over there. So I went to go pick up my baby. And his mom was like, Kiara, when you get the chance, have your mom call me. So I'm like, okay, my mom don't fool with them anyway, so whatever, I'll tell her. So I pick up my baby, go home, and I'm with my mom and I tell her. So my mom and her end up conversating. And she was like, well, I told Kiara that I wanted to talk to you because we have some things to discuss. And my mom was like, basically, here we go again. What y'all have up y'all sleeve now? She was like, well, I appreciate you letting us spend time with the baby. Okay, I'm running out of time, part 7. Okay, part 7. So she's doing this whole spiel about how she appreciate us letting my baby go over to her house and let them spend time together. But now she's starting to be with the BS because you can hear it in her voice. So she goes and say, well, while we were babysitting, my daughter, I decided to take it upon myself and purchase an at-home DNA test. And I knew it wasn't right, but we did swab her mouth and swab his mouth also. And the results just came back in, and it's not sitting right with me.
That reminds me of that episode in the game where Melanie swabbed Doran's alleged kid from what was her name? I forgot her name. J- what Janet? No, it's not with a J. It's just like the game. It came out. It came back with a reboot. It was a good show. With the cast, Melanie, Kelly, Jason, um, Malik, Tasha. Like I haven't seen the reboot yet, but it's I think I haven't even seen the ratings yet, but I think it should be good. I'm gonna get to like watching that, but like yeah, like it was a good show. It was funny too. Like seriously, like it had some meaning behind it, and I think Tia Mori's in the reboot or not, I don't know, but and I think Duran's I think he's in, I don't know, but I just got to catch up with that.
So my mother's like, okay, so now I'm about to get on y'all, okay? So she said, okay, so y'all done did all of this, basically trying to make it seem like y'all care. What did the results say? She said, well, the results said that he is not the father of the baby. Okay, part A. Okay, so now at this moment, I am pissed. Because I'm like, who gave y'all permission to swab my child's mouth? 12 or not, you still need my permission to swab my baby's mouth. So in my head, I'm like, yo, there's no way that this old lady is doing this.
Good.
So my mother's like, why would you do that? Now, in the state of South Carolina, technically, my mother has custody of me and my daughter. So even if I didn't give consent, if my mother would have gave consent, it would have been fine. But again, the heifer did not get no consent from nobody. So now I'm like, so you're basically calling me a hoe. And she's like, well, the test results say that's not his child. So we need to figure out what's going to happen now. Basically saying, how is there proof that we slept together? So I called her bluff. I said, if it's not his, let me see the test results. Y'all, I got to finish this in part 9, okay? Okay, y'all, part 9. So now, again, I done asked her, let me see the test. She could not provide the test. She had every excuse in the book why I could not see the test. So I'm like, if you got a test and it's not his, but you won't show me the test, how do I know you're not lying? Now, y'all know how older people is. And when I mean older people, I mean like my mama's age and older. They're stuck in their ways. So they feel like they can't do nothing wrong. You can't check them about nothing, none of that. So she's like, she don't need to lie. She don't need to lie to no child, especially not one that's accusing her son of being the father of their child. Now, again, his big, tall, goofy behind just standing there not saying nothing. So at this moment, I know I'm really dealing with a mama's boy. And I'm like, bro, you really gonna sit here and let this lady say that this is not your child? If she can't provide me with results, you provide me with the results since you're my baby daddy. Okay, part 10. So now at this point, I'm just like, you are not what I thought you would be. Like, I really cannot believe, like, you took my virginity and you're not telling the truth at all. So his mother has the audacity to say, well, maybe my cousin
Fake niggas alert.
is my baby daddy. Yeah, y'all heard that right. She said maybe my cousin is my baby daddy.
What?
She went from saying maybe my cousin is my baby daddy to maybe it being my mom's boyfriend at the time. But all she knew, like she said, all she knew was it.
That's a lot of excuses being thrown around. So like that's like a family member. Now it's an old like ex. Like what?
It was not her son's child. So now, y'all, I am ashamed. I'm embarrassed. I'm like, now people really are going to think that I'm out here sleeping with everybody, and I'm not. And throughout all of this, I was still in love with this boy. But my cousin, though, Really? My cousin? And technically my stepdad? Like, come on now. 11. So now after she done accused me of sleeping with my cousin and my stepdad, I'm like literally like going crazy, trying to commit suicide, all of this. And of course, my mother being an alcoholic, it wasn't helping. This is when my dad stepped in. So the night that my dad stepped in is when I attempted to run away with my baby. Now here I am trying to run away with my baby at 12 years old, and she's like 3 months old now. But of course, me running away wasn't successful because my baby daddy's brother caught me running away and brought me back home. So now my mom told my dad that I was trying to run away, and he was like, basically, I'm going to take my daughter from you. So she's coming up to New York. So now they're saying I can't take my baby up north, even though they're denying my child. My mom is not wanting me to leave. And at this point, all I want to do is like literally leave the face of the earth. So again, I try to commit suicide again. Okay, part 12. So now my mom and my dad is going back and forth. Of course, it's about me because now I done have my baby. Now his family is trying me, well, his mother specifically. My mama is drinking and I'm trying to commit suicide. So now my dad has a plan to where he's going to get me to come back to New York. So if, I want to say like 2 weeks went by and my dad ended up buying me a ticket for me and my baby. My mother was like, I don't care if you buy the ticket. She's not going. But my dad was like, you basically not about to tell me what to do with my child. So in the midst of my mother being drunk, passed out drunk, I ended up packing all my stuff while she was passed out drunk. And at the time, my aunt was married and her husband helped me, pack up my stuff in the car and board the plane to New York. So again, while my mother's passed out drunk, I end up leaving to go to New York. Part 13. So now here I am.
I'm sorry, but why is her neck like that? Like, it's like her neck is like throbbing, like her neck is swollen or something. Because like, yo, no neck is like it's healthy like that. Son. Like it don't look normal. Son. Like the neck look crazy. Son.
In New York with my dad and Miss Piggy, which is his wife, and her kids. And my grandmother also lives in New York, and everybody giving me the talk.
No relations to the Muppets, Miss Piggy.
Like basically going in on me that I had a baby at 12. But my dad was just explaining, like, just because you up here, that don't mean anything. Like, we still gonna get this man to go to prison because he done got my daughter pregnant. While we were in New York, my dad did not waste no time. My dad took me to court to drop child support that my mother had on him for me. And then he also ended up getting joint custody of my daughter. So that way he can go ahead and add my daughter to his insurance through his job and also get like all the benefits he needed for my daughter. What I know now that I didn't know back then, my dad is very money hungry. But I'm going to come back with part 14. So now here I am giving my dad, or going to court to give my dad joint custody of my daughter. And immediately, the first thing my dad is saying is like, okay, now that I have joint custody, I can go ahead and get the benefits I need for her. And when I mean benefits, we're like WIC, food stamps, Medicaid, all of that. So now I'm in the house with this man and his wife and her 4 kids. And they're acting like my child is their child. And in my head, I'm thinking to myself, okay, don't be disrespectful because that's your father, but this ain't gonna work. Now, at this moment, I'm in New York from...
You say both of your parents are divorced? Because I'm confused. I thought they were together. She didn't even say that part, son. She skipped that part where, like, your whole, like, man, your whole, I mean, he had a whole, like, different family of his own. Like,
from July, August. And I was there for about, I want to say until like November, somewhere around there. So I'm asking like, okay, what are we going to do about her dad? And my dad just like, don't worry about it. I'm going to handle it. Okay, part 15 coming. Okay, part 15. So now, y'all, mind y'all, I said that I was in New York with my dad. And the whole time while I'm in New York, I'm thinking like it's going to be good for us, but it wasn't. So my dad did say that he was still going to pursue pressing charges and all of that as far as like taking it to trial now. So my dad is not really giving me no updates. I do know I have like social services coming up to the school still talking to me because they're thinking it's traumatic and I need therapy. So y'all remember when I said my dad was getting benefits for my daughter? I did not know my dad was getting FI for my daughter. So now here I am thinking my dad is going to help me and my daughter, but whole time he really only got us to get the FI. And if anybody ever been on welfare, FI is when the government pays you for a child that you have, but then the parent that doesn't have custody of that child has to pay it back. So now at this point, my dad is getting benefits for my daughter as far as money, but he's not really doing nothing for my daughter. Part 60.
All right, so there you have it, son. That was part two. Let me know comments on what you guys thought about that, and also don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, repost your thoughts on your platforms, and also don't forget to hit the notification bell for future videos, and get the merch at teespring.com/PJ Digital Mildass Gang, and it's your boy PJ Digital 21, and I am PJ, and we are PJ Digital Gang.
Bitches, we keep on coming while we running for your juice. Steady gunning, keep on busting at the boots.